Managed to get the internet working yesterday, which is good. Um, and this morning, I was just thinking about more justice, how I would change the justice system, um, because justice should be about working out if someone is guilty or not, if they did the crime, um, and then also working out how much responsibility the victim should take, because there are circumstances where the victim might encourage something. If someone is calling someone lots of bad names and they receive a stab, it's terrible, it's awful. But if you learn that actually they've been calling that person names for like a very long time, and perhaps they like even ruin their childhood or something, then anything that comes isn't justified, but it's more justified. It's there's a reason behind it, and they're the victim's in the wrong too. So I feel like the justice system needs to completely change, and I've been thinking about ways of how I would change it. I would change it as in, you first have to work out if someone did something or not. Once that's been decided, then you need to sort of look at the amount of suffering that person's caused. Beating someone up is terrible, but if you beat them up and they end up breaking their leg and spending 6 months in hospital, you know, it should be, there's a huge amount of costs and stuff. I think it would be fair to say that if someone puts someone in hospital, they should cover their bills. That would be part of the justice. Justice isn't always just about putting people in prison. The guy who spent 17 years in prison, for no for when he wasn't actually guilty, when he didn't do the crime, and they found evidence that he didn't do the crime. He's now got out in civil, but the justice system believes that it's justified to just give him money. Okay, they're even waiting 2 years, which sounds ridiculous. They should give it to him now, not make him wait another 2 years and make him sleep in a tent because he's got no money because he's been in jail for 17 years. But justice in that term is just giving him money. So why is justice? Why is the justice that he's going to receive only going to be involving money, and yet the justice that the rape victim got, is just putting someone in jail for 17 years? Why is there such a justice can be just giving someone a massive fine. Things like stealing and stuff. It's really bad. But if you ask like companies, what would they rather? Would they rather their the people who steal? The screen keeps freezing. Would they rather get these people in jail, or would they rather fine these people like a large, huge amount of money, like say 10,000 or £2,000, depending on how much, maybe fine them £1,000 for every £100 of items that they steal or something. They might find themselves in jail because they can't pay it, but they can always get a loan and pay off the loan via other means. But I don't know. I feel like justice is that it's not just, it shouldn't just be about putting people in prison. It should also be about like just making them suffer. But there are loads of different ways to make them suffer. If you're making shops and big businesses suffer by stealing from them, then I feel like justice could just be getting the government to say, well, you've stolen this amount of stuff from this shop. You have to pay back everything that you stole, and we're going to slap you with a fine. And that fine is going to go towards a big fund, which we're going to actually distribute towards the shops and give them, because there's, for every person who steals something, they've probably still stolen 20 other things and just haven't got caught. And so I feel like if you catch someone, stealing, you should make them pay for what their goods, and you should slap them with a fine, because that's, on the presumption that they've probably done it before. If you've stolen things from shops, you've probably done it before. Hence, there probably should be a fund that can go into, helping. I know you've got insurance and stuff, but it shouldn't be about paying the insurance, because the insurance company is paid for by the companies, and that makes every suffer company. Stealing is a big crime, but it doesn't actually involve suffering. It involves suffering of a business and closure of shops. I bet loads of shops have been forced to close down because of the number of people that steal from them, and they just can't afford to keep up with the business, to pay the insurance. Insurance is high because people steal, and because people steal, they get their money covered and stuff, but they have to pay a high insurance. So stealing affects everything, but it's not initial, it's more financial suffering. But if stealing is a financial suffering, then you shouldn't really go to jail for it. You should go to jail for it until you're able to pay off some sort of fine, either through savings or by taking out a loan and having to work to pay off. I feel like that's justice. Making people Justice should be about taking people who have done crimes and making them suffer to an equal amount or to double amount. It's fine to make them pay double amount because they might have done it before. If you've beaten up someone and they've ended up in hospital for a week because of it, it's maybe you've attacked other people and therefore putting them in prison for a year. You've attacked someone for a week, you're going to go into prison for a year. That might be more justified because they might have expressed this anger on other people, and jail time would be. So it's not just about making them suffer or an equal amount, but maybe double or a similar level. But yeah, the idea of taking someone who's committed a crime for 30 minutes and then putting them in jail for 10 years because of a 30-minute crime, I think that's not justice. It's revenge. If I was to, oh, the screen's frozen again. Come on. I don't know if this is recording or not. But yeah, if I was to explain the difference between justice and revenge, justice is to say, if you've hurt me, I'm going to hurt you in a similar kind of way. But revenge would be like, no, if you've hurt me, I'm going to turn you back into an animal and make you not just suffer for one life as an animal. Technically, they don't suffer. It's just you have to live in fear a little bit. So being an animal is not the best, but plus I was the one who gave them a human body anyway. But I feel like I want revenge because because it's better for the world, because there's too many people here, hence a lot of people need to go back into the animal kingdom. But yeah, some people might find themselves going back into the animal kingdom and never being human again. Like, it depends on how big the population is and how long it lasts for and stuff. But yeah, I feel like that's the difference between justice and revenge. Justice is just literally kind of making people suffer in a similar kind of way to make how they make others suffer, or maybe twice as much, as a sort of penalty. Or you can make them suffer by fining them. I think fines are, if it's a non-violent crime, fining them should be seen as how to handle it. But yeah, revenge is where you just try and make them suffer as much as you possibly can. And I feel like there's loads of people that can't tell the difference between justice and revenge. And I know there are people that, if you get stabbed in the eye, you're going to spend the rest of your life with no eye, and that's a lot of suffering. Even though the crime would have only lasted a few seconds, it's a lot of suffering because of the person having to live the rest of their life without an eye. So a crime like that deserves a long sentence because that person has caused a lot of suffering on someone. But if it's just someone like stabbing, like punching them in the face and then having a black eye, the black eye would have healed after a week or two, and okay, they do deserve prison, but they don't deserve a long-term prison because the person that they've caused to suffer are not going to be suffering for a long time. Okay, they might have trust issues and stuff, but yeah, I think anyone who goes to prison for 5 years is going to come out with trust issues too. I mean, and that's going to be, people are also going to have trust issues against the government. If they feel that they've been put in prison for 5 years over a crime that would have caused someone one day of suffering, I think they're going to come out with not just trust issues, but trust issues of the government and of the people on everything. And therefore you can't, people seem to want to sympathize with the victim and see the bad person as the bad person. You have the victimizer and the victim, and people love to categorize these two people. And I don't think people realize that there's good and bad and everything. And I think courts would be much more fair if people saw that there's good and bad and good. And, sometimes, if someone did get a black eye and ended up in hospital and, okay, it's a crime, but maybe they were egging that person on, maybe they were jeering that person and encouraging that person. And yeah, I don't trust the court systems. I really don't. But I would love to say all this so that we can try and fix something, if anything.